Have you ever seen 1111 repeat yourself at strange moments, and you felt that it wasn't just a coincidence? What if I told you that there is a connection between this mysterious number, the sign of Virgin, and a frightening view that was prophesied before Edgar Cayce fell asleep in deep trance? Cayce, known as the sleeping prophet, has left revelations that only now begin to be understood, and one directly involves those born under the sign of Virgin. We are not talking about common predictions, but messages received in altered states of consciousness, coming from spiritual dimensions inaccessible to the majority. He saw something, a code, a sign, a call, which manifests itself silently every time a Virginian crosses his eyes with 1111. And what happens next? Not everyone is ready to face, because unlike other signs, Virgin has a unique sensitivity, a spiritual radar that captures invisible warnings. Cayce warned, when Virgin sees 1111, something is activated, something that cannot be ignored. A awakened cycle. A choice needs to be made. What he saw in that trance state, and what he has left, can completely change the way you see this number and its connection with your soul, especially if you are a virgin. And before you think it is exaggeration, remember, even skeptics goosebumps to hear this story. Now stop and reflect. How many times have you seen 1111 in the last few weeks? And what were you feeling at that moment? Pay attention, because in the coming minutes you will find out why this seemingly harmless number can be the most dangerous for those born under Virgin, and what Cayce really wanted to reveal before silence. If you have experienced this, if 1111 has repeatedly appeared to you, especially in times of doubt, anguish, or inner silence, comment now. I have seen the sign. This is not just a comment. It's a seal, a recognition that you are also connected to something bigger, something Cayce saw long before most do, not even imagine. Write in the comments if you are a virgin or know someone who is, because this message can be a direct warning of the universe. And more than ever, it is essential that you remain alert. What we will reveal in this video goes far beyond common astrology. It is about spiritual protection, invisible choices, and a possible mission that few have the courage to accept. So it already leaves the like now. It shows that you are receptive to the message and help this content reach more people who may also be seeing the signs and do not know what they mean. Subscribe to the channel, because in the next videos we will unravel the hidden messages of other signs, other numbers, and other prophecies that were still buried in oblivion. But before, take a deep breath, because the following revelation can make you see 1111 in a completely new way, especially if you are Virginian and have felt that you are here for a reason that no one has ever able to explain. Get ready for the next fragment of this forgotten prophecy. Cayce knew something. And finally, let's understand why. Have you ever wondered why, among all the moments of the day, your eyes fixed on 1111? It doesn't matter if it's on the mobile clock, the microwave display, or even the number of likes in a random post. Something pulls you to that number, and the stranger is that it seems to happen just when your mind is restless, when the surrounding silence seems to hide a message. This happens a lot with Virgin sign, not because it is a coincidence, but because there is a hidden code in this number that comes into direct resonance with the Virginian soul. Virgin is a sign linked to the analysis, to detail, to the silent perception of the things that others ignore. But there is something deeper behind this Virgin attention carries, something spiritual, almost prophetic. Edgar Cayce, during his trance states, spoke of signs that would be sent to arouse the chosen ones. And although it has never cited number 1111 directly, its revelations point to numerical codes as portals, as reminders of the spiritual plane that time is tapered. He said that some souls are called back to their mission through small reality shocks, and that the most silent of these signs would be perceived by those who had cream sensitivity. This fits perfectly with Virgin. The Virginian feels before understanding, present before see. And when you see 1111, you feel that chill, not out of fear, but because you know, instinctively, that there is something at that time that is not common, that that specific second of the day carries a vibration, a code of activation. Many people think that 1111 is just the time to place an order, but what if the request that needs to be made is not for you, but for you to wake up, so you remember who and so you can hear what your intuition has been screaming for so long? Virgin is a sign that carries, often in silence, a pain that no one sees, an internal pressure of perfection, on purpose to try to make everything right. But this search is not just human, she is spiritual. Number 11. 11 appears to remember that this search has a reason, that everything you have suffered in silence, every night you lay down with a tight heart and accelerated thoughts are part of spiritual preparation. A soul training. That's why this number pursues you, not as a curse, but like a whisper, a memory that you are being called. And it's not any call, it is a call from the invisible, of the upper plane. Cayce said there are souls who came with a different contract. They are not from here. They embody with a mission, often misunderstood even by them. They are the ones that carry the weight of spiritual lucidity, and when these souls forget it, the universe begins to send reminders. And for Virgin, the most straightforward reminder is 1111. You feel that, don't you? The vibration in the chest, the thought that arises from nothing, the feeling that something is about to happen without any logical explanation. You are not crazy. You are sensitive to what others do not realize, and that doesn't make you weak. On the contrary, this makes you dangerous to everything you live in the dark, because an awakening soul is the greatest threat to the invisible system that manipulates sleeping minds. And Virgin, when awakening, clearly sees what no one dares to look. Many virgins report that after they see 1111 repeatedly, they began to have strange dreams. Vivid dreams, with mirrors, stairs, doors, and symbols that they do not know how to interpret. Others say they started hearing internal phrases, as if something inside them had begun to speak more clearly. Some have even distanced themselves from close people, feeling that they no longer fit into ordinary conversations, routine problems, dramas without depth. And all this began after the repetition of 1111, coincidence or consequence of something Cayce already knew. Virgin is governed by Mercury, the planet of mind, communication. But in a spiritual reading, Mercury is the messenger among the worlds. It is the one who moves between the living and the dead, between the visible and the hidden. And that's why, when Virgin sees 1111, he not only sees a number, he listens to a message. Only most ignore it, pretends to be nothing, discredit, until the emptiness begins to grow, until intuition begins to scream, until the signs become so clear that they become impossible to ignore. Wake up at 4:44 in the morning, have goosebumps for no reason, feeling present in the room. All of this are echoes of a spiritual call that began with that number, and the more you say this call, the stronger it becomes. It is as if the universe is trying to align you with something you swore before you were born you would do. But the forgetfulness came, the routine swallowed, the doubt settled, and only the feeling that something is missing, something you can't name, but that pulsates every time you see 1111. You are not alone in it. There are other virgins going through the same thing, and the more you come together, the stronger the collective vibration of this forgotten mission becomes. Cayce saw the future not as something fixed, but as something shaped by the spiritual choices we make in the present. And perhaps your future depends just on listening, now, which your soul has been trying to say for so long. 1111 is not there to scare you. It's about to remind you, push you, reconnect you. And that's why throughout this video you will understand more clearly what this mission is, what Cayce really saw before falling asleep, and why he believed some signs were being observed by invisible forces, and that these forces sometimes come not to protect. If you got here, it's because this message was for you. And now, I want to know about you. Comment here below. I felt the call if you have had experiences with 1111, or felt somehow that this video spoke directly to your soul. If you are a virgin, write, I carry this code. This is not just about engagement. It is about recognizing that you are not alone. And if you can, leave your like now. This simple gesture helps the algorithm spread this message to those who need to hear it. Now, if at some point in this video you felt something vibrate inside you, if your hands were cold, if your breath has changed, if your heart tightened as if an ancient memory were being activated, then maybe that's not just a sensation. Maybe it's the signal you needed to remember who you are. That's why I want to make you a silent but urgent invitation. Download the digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign, and How to Heal Them Before 2026, ESS. And it is not a common book. It is a map. It reveals invisible wounds that you carry unknowingly, and that, without being healed, continue to shape your relationships, your decisions, your spirituality, and even the choices you repeat without understanding why. Maybe you have been feeling for some time that there is something stuck in there, an old pain, a forgotten mission, a part of you who haven't found your place yet. If this spoke to you, don't ignore it. The link is in the first comment fixed. Access is limited because this content will be removed from the air soon. If you are here now, it is because something in you is ready to wake up, and your healing can start today. Click on the fixed comment and receive. The rest, your soul will understand. So if you are still here, it is because some part of yours is feeling that this is not just coincidence. Perhaps it is not the first time you hear someone talk about 1111, or maybe it's the first time you hear with this clarity what this number can mean specifically for the Virgin sign. And that is precisely where the mystery lives, because the universe does not scream, he whispers, and the Virgins, with their keen perception, with their analytical mind and silently spiritual soul, always capture what escapes in the eyes of others. No wonder many Virginians report, since young people, a strange feeling of not belonging, of observing everything in depth, but feeling like they were outside, looking at life through a crack. 1111 appears, not as a random code but as a sequence of spiritual alignment. It's as if reality is flashing to you saying, pay attention, there is something you promised before you are born, and it's time to remember. Cayce spoke in his views of silent spiritual contracts, commitments made by ancient souls who agreed to come to this life not only to live, but to cure, reorganize, reveal. And this is where Virgin comes in, because among all the signs of the zodiac, Virgin is the one that brings the energy of service, purity, improvement, but not in the superficial sense of organization and cleaning, as so many still believe. The true Virginian carries within himself the mission of restoring what was broken, within others, and especially within himself. What few know is that, spiritually, Virgin is a sign that deals with dense energies, even if it does not show. It is a sign that lives absorbing pain from others, trying to heal without being perceived, trying to keep everything in place while internally feels chaos. And when this kind of soul begins to see 1111 repeatedly, something is wanting to be revealed. Something that may be hidden for years, maybe even lives. It's as if the universe is saying, wake up, because you're ready. It's time to access what you have forgotten. And the truth is that not everyone is ready for this awakening, but Virgin is, always has been, because his pain, his sensitivity, his ability to perceive the details and the hidden patterns prepare him to understand messages that no one else could decipher. Have you noticed how, on the days when you see 1111, something strange happens? I'm not talking about grandiose events, but subtle things. A conversation that changes your energy, a feeling confirmed, a memory that comes out of nowhere, a casual meeting with someone from the past. None of this is by chance. It is the code manifesting itself, the signal touching you. Many Virgins describe that after they see 1111 insistently, they begin to lose interest in certain friendships, certain places, certain habits, as if something inside them was pushing for spiritual cleaning. This is because 1111 is also an invitation, a call to the reorganization of the soul, and no one understands this concept better than Virgin. Cayce said that spiritual signs become more frequent and intense the more one resists the mission itself. And that's why, for many Virgins, the more they flee their true path, the more the signs appear. Some ignore, others get sick. But those who stop to listen, those who accept the discomfort of awakening, begin to realize that all that they felt was not crazy, it was not weakness, but preparation. A rare type of preparation that only old souls have. And here's a truth that few speak. Spiritual awakening is not beautiful. It hurts. He confuses. It isolates you. But it also sets you free. And for Virgin, this awakening has a scheduled date, and usually begins when number 1111 becomes impossible to ignore. How many times have you seen this number this week? And how many of them were you in the midst of important thinking, a moment of silence or intense emotion? The universe does not waste energy. If you are seeing, it is because you are being called. And if it is Virgin, the call is even more specific. You are the alert. You came to see before the other S, to feel when the weather changes, to be the one who lights the light in the environments where everyone has gotten used to the darkness. And that's exactly why your journey is more lonely, more demanding, deeper, but also more powerful. Many people ignore the power of numbers. They think they are just random repetitions, but the ancients already knew. The numbers are portals, keys, vibrational frequencies that open different layers from reality. 11 is the number of spiritual masters, the number of intuition activated, communication between worlds. And when he doubles, 1111, he becomes a mirror, an access code. And when this code finds a Virginian soul ready, it lights up. He vibrates. It manifests itself through signs, goosebumps, dreams, sensations that cannot be explained with logic, because logic has never been the way to awaken it. The sensitivity is. And maybe that's exactly why you are here now, watching this video, feeling something inside you move, because no matter how many times you have tried to get away from it, ignore signs, distract yourself with ordinary life, deep down, you know that your soul is not common. You always feel it. And now, gradually, it all starts to make sense. The pain, the silences, the intuitions, the numbers, everything is part of a larger puzzle. And each time 1111 appears, it is as if a piece of this puzzle is fitted inside you. If you are feeling it all, or even more, it's time to step forward. But first, let me ask you something very important. Have you seen 1111 more than once in recent weeks? And more than that, did you feel something strange? Something almost impossible to explain? If so, I want to invite you to write here in the comments right now, "I saw the signal." Write this with intention, as if confirming to the universe you understood the message. And if you are a virgin, also comment, "I am the warning." These words are not random. They energetically seal their connection to this call. They create a spiritual field of recognition among those who are awakening. And if you felt this vibration, if this video has touched something deep on you, don't forget to leave the like. It shows the universe and the algorithm that you want to continue receiving these messages. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign, and how to heal them before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. According to Cayce, not all spiritual signs appear the same way for all people. Some need intense events, great tragedies, or miracles to awaken. Others, however, were born with the most open channel and only need small pushes from the universe to remember who they are. This is where the sign of Virgin comes in. Edgar Cayce, in his trance states, described that certain souls carry an ancient memory, a silent spiritual heritage, coded within the energy field itself. And this memory, according to him, cannot be accessed by logic, common reading, or trivial conversations. It only awakens when activated by specific cosmic symbols. And one of those symbols, perhaps the most powerful, is 1111. This number, so simple at first glance, is actually a code of spiritual activation. And for the Virginians, he acts as a key that rotates something within the soul. Cayce called this process cellular memory, when the physical body begins to vibrate in tune with information that does not come from the rational mind but something deeper, from the soul. When a Virginian sees 1111, he is not just seeing a number, it is being called. A call that does not come from the outside world, but from a space between the worlds. Because at that specific time, the veil between the dimensions is tuned. And when this happens, there is no more way to pretend nothing is happening. This Cayce's view reveals something that many people intuitively feel, but never knew how to explain. That feeling that 1111 appears when they are about to make an important decision, when they are emotionally vulnerable, or when they feel something in the air is different. It is as if the universe is about to give them a message, but only those who already have the right sensitivity can capture. And the Virginians carry exactly this kind of sensitivity. Silent, discreet, but absurdly deep. On the outside, they may seem rational, practical, methodical, but inside, they are listening to everything, realizing everything, translating signs that most do not even notice. And it is precisely this refined sensitivity that makes the impact of 1111 so strong on their lives. Cayce also warned for an important detail. Code 1111. It wasn't just a beautiful reminder. He could also be a warning, Because when the soul begins to receive the call, it needs to choose. And this choice is spiritual, not moral. It has nothing to do with being good or bad, right or wrong. It has to do with accepting or denying the call. And denying this call has consequences, not as divine punishment, but as a vibrational consequence. The soul begins to conflict with the life it is leading. The body feels, the mind suffers, anxiety increases, the feeling of emptiness intensifies, because what should be flowing, stinging, the channel that should be receiving light, begins to close. And in the case of Virginians, this process is even more delicate, because they are not just called to awaken, they are called to guide, to balance, aligning what is distorted around. They have a much deeper spiritual function than they think, but when they do not accept, when they doubt their sensitivity, when they discredit their spells and ignore the signs, the weight increases. Life charges in silence. Nothing seems to fit in. Relationships become confusing. Opportunities disappear. The low energy. Because the virgin's soul needs to be on mission. When it is not, it dissolves, loses the center. And that's why 1111 appears repetitively. Not to scare, but to remember, you're ready, but you're running away. There are even reports of Virginian people who, after ignoring 1111 for a long time, have entered intense internal processes, disturbing dreams, daily sense, and even existential crises without apparent explanation. Cayce spoke of this as the soul shock, when the vibration of the mission tries to force passage through a still resisting body. But there is also the other side, the soft awakening, when the person begins to pay attention, when he respects his feelings, when he honors his sensitivity. Code 1111 begins to become an ally. He comes to appear in times of perfect synchronization, as if opening small doors between one world and another. Some people report that after accepting this call, they began to feel that they were in the right place at the right time with the right energy, as if something had unlocked inside them. For Virgin, this detivation changes everything, because it is a sign that lives the search for meaning, by purpose. And when this spiritual purpose is activated, the Virginian to fight himself, it begins to use your sensitivity as a tool, your analytical mind as a bridge, your pain as a cure. Cayce knew that, and that's why he said that signs are not given to everyone, but to those who have something to do in this plan. And if you are seeing 1111 often, especially if you are a virgin, it is because it is part of something larger than your mind can still understand. And all this leads us to a central question. What are you doing with these signs? Are you ignoring? Trying to explain rationally? Pretending to be just a coincidence? Or is it allowing your soul to speak louder? Because it's no use just seeing the number, you have to feel. You have to hear what is being whispered behind the sequence. You need to let the code penetrate your conscience, move your vibration, realign your way. And when this happens, something inside you changes, irrevocably. If this is happening to you, if this video, these words, this energy has done something, pulse inside your chest, comment below right now, I hear the call. And if it is a virgin, write hard, I carry the ancestral memory. Because this memory is not fantasy, it's real. It is in your field, in your body, in your spiritual blood, and just need to be activated. And if you felt that this video has arrived at the right time, like another sign among so many others, leave your like now, because it strengthens our connection and shows the universe that you are ready. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign, and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention! The stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. Virgin has never been just about organization, routine, or discipline, as surface astrology so often tries to summarize. There is a deeper layer, an invisible field that surrounds each person born under this sign, a high perception field of silent listening, of sensitivity that is not shouted. Edgar Cayce talked about it with almost prophetic clarity. He said Virgin is one of the few signs that was marked even before it was born, marked by a spiritual task that accompanies him as a vibrational signature. And it's not any mission. Virgin was chosen to repair, realign, and restructure what is collapsing. And this happens not only in the world material, but especially in the invisible, in what nobody sees, but everyone feels. The Virginian feels the imbalance. even without knowing the origin. It enters an environment and captures in seconds the tension, the weight, the invisible noise. He presents sadness in someone's eyes even when there is a smile on his face, and it carries it as if it were his. Unknowingly, the Virginian acts as an energetic guardian. He sucks the disorder of the surroundings, transforms chaos in silence, the noise in order. But this gift has a price, because by absorbing the weight of the world, he often forgets to take care of his own. And then, the silent. Suffering begins, a type of pain that does not appear in medical examinations, that is not explained in words, a soul pain. Many virgins grew up hearing that they were exaggerated, too sensitive, complicated. Others were labeled as controllers or cold, when in fact they were just trying to maintain a kind of balance no one else was seeing. And when this internal balance breaks, the body feels, the mind conflicts, and the soul begins to retract itself. And it is at this point that many begin to see 1111 more often, because this number, more than a spiritual sign, is a request for realignment, a reminder of the original mission, as if to say, hey, you are forgetting who you are. You are trying to live like others, but you were made to see what they do not see. 1111 appears as an echo of the spiritual plane calling Virgin back to his mission, and this mission does not require it to be perfect as they believe. It requires it to be true. May it accept your sensitivity as strength, not as weakness. That stops trying to fit where it doesn't fit, and recognize that it was made to cure imbalances, not to carry them all. Virgin healing begins when he understands that he no longer has to fix the whole world, but yes, acting where your gift really has value, and this value is between the lines, in the details, in the subtleties that only he can capture. Cayce said that the virgin soul was forged in plans where harmony was natural. Therefore, when it embodies in this dense plane, everything that is distorted hurts more. The injustice shouts, the mess bothers you, the lie disturbs, because spiritual memory still knows what it is like to live in balance. And this silent and constant memory pushes Virgin to tirelessly seek a better world. That is why many virgins are involved in causes, healing, therapies, spirituality, systems that promote order, health, peace. Even without knowing exactly why, they feel they need to do something. And that something is the hidden mission being triggered. But there is a critical point that few realize. When Virgin leaves this mission, when he tries to be what he is not, when he represses his intuition to seem normal, the body begins to rebel. Anxiety increases. Insomnia is installed. The feeling of non-partition becomes an abyss. And then 1111 appears. It starts slowly. One day on the clock, another on YouTube, then the value of an account, in the number of a password, on the license plate, until it becomes undeniable. It is as if the universe is whispering louder and louder. Remember, you came to align, not to get lost in the noise. And if you are a virgin, you may have realized that you feel everything before. Who dreams of strange things? That you present finals before you start, which has an intuition that tries to rationalize but never miss. This is not by chance. It is part of its energy structure. It is the code you carry, the vision beyond the obvious. And this vision is even more strongly activated when you begin to see 1111, because this number for Virgin is a mirror, a reminder, a call to the memory of what you promised before incarnating. And perhaps you have had experiences that you tried to ignore, a dream that looked too real, a meeting that seemed predestined, a message that arrived at the exact moment. You may have felt that there is something big about to happen, something you can't name. This is part of the mission awakening, and when this happens, the path is divided. Either you hide from yourself, or start walking with courage towards what your soul already knows. Cayce believed that Virginians, by activating their mission, become headlights. They don't have to convince anyone of anything. Just exist in your truth is enough to change the frequency of environments. And this change, though subtle, is powerful, because everything in the universe responds to vibration, and the vibration of an aligned soul is stronger than 1,000 words. That's why Virgin, even in silence, transforms everything around. Now, if you are feeling that all this fits what you live, if you are feeling a knot in your throat or a shiver you can't explain, know, this is your vibrating field. It is the spiritual memory to shake itself. It is the mission reminding you that it is time to take over the place that is yours. And it is not a place of outstanding external EU. It is a place of inner balance, of energy influence, on a silent purpose. It is a place that no one can occupy for you. If you got here, I want you to tell me in the comments now. I feel the mission awakening. Write this if you felt that this video spoke straight to you. And if it is a virgin, also comment, I am the lighthouse. Because you are. You have always been. And maybe now it's the moment when everything starts to remember that. Leave your like. It shows the universe. If you are a virgin and have come here, it is because some part of you already feels that this is more than words. More than curiosity, more than just astrology. There is something that pulsates inside you and may be trying to communicate a long time ago, but only now has it started to find a clear channel to express itself. And this is exactly where activation signs begin to become impossible to ignore. Number 11, when it arises, does not arise by chance. For many people, he goes unnoticed, as any more in the midst of the flow of the day. But for souls who came with a mission, especially those born under the sign of Virgo, this number vibrates at another frequency. He speaks a language that is not rational. It is symbolic, spiritual, vibrational, and that's why when he appears, something changes in his atmosphere. There is a cold in the spine that does not come from the body, a chill that has no thermal explanation, a subtle feeling that someone is watching you, even if there is no one around. The air looks different. Time seems to slow down for a few seconds. And if you pay attention, you may even realize that your thoughts change. The normally whisper inner voice begins to become clearer, more direct, as if finally managed to cross the veils that separated you from yourself. These are the first signs, and they intensify as your soul begins to respond to the call. Lucid dreams are one of the most common among Virginians awakening, but they are not common dreams. They are experiences where you feel that you are conscious within the dream. And in these dreams, certain elements are repeated. Mirrors, stairs, doors, corridors, white lights, symbols that look like familiar, even if you have never seen them before. The mirrors in these dreams symbolize contact with the true self, the spiritual self, the higher self. The stairs indicate the process of ascension, change of dimension, energy climb, and each of these signs appears as a track, as if the dream reality was preparing you for something bigger. 1111 acts as an access code. When you start seeing it frequently, it is as if your frequency is being adjusted, as if your internal antenna is capturing waves that once passed unnoticed. This can cause, at first, an internal confusion. You may feel more intense emotions, memories arising out of nowhere, childhood memories that you haven't accessed for years, or even an inexplicable desire to change your life, place, routine. None of this is coincidence. All of this is an answer. Your energy field is moving, and with him, all his reality begins to be affected. Another powerful sign is the increase in the inner voice. For those who are a virgin, this voice is often constant, but drowned out of thoughts, worries, tasks. After all, virgin lives with the active mind, seeking to solve, organize, correct, understand. But when 1111 begins to act as a spiritual trigger, the mind begins to give way to the soul. And this voice, which was once shy, begins to stand out. She speaks more clearly. Sometimes it seems to come with another intonation. Other times it comes with a physical sensation, a light pressure on the chest, a heat in the neck, a vibration in the fingers. All of this is the ways of your body to say, I'm listening, I'm feeling, I'm remembering. And this spiritual memory is powerful, but not always comfortable, because it brings truths that were dormant. It brings emotions that were blocked. It brings the weight and light of the spiritual mission you carry. Many Virginians, as they go through this activation, begin to feel an inner urgency, a feeling that they need to do something, change something, help someone, create something that still doesn't know what. This restlessness is the reflection of the soul being awakened. And the more you resist, the more intense everything gets. But the more you accept and listen, the more fluidity it arises. You begin to perceive synchronics everywhere. It begins to find people with similar stories. It begins to feel that, even without understanding everything, is going in the right direction. 1111 can also be accompanied by subtler but equally significant phenomena. Objects fall without explanation. Electronic devices fail exactly at 11:11. Animals look at you at this time. You feel smells that remind you of places of the past, even being in another environment night. All of this are energy manifestations trying to show you that reality is not as solid as it seems, that there is an invisible layer of existence wanting to reveal itself, and that you, as a Virginian, are sensitive enough to feel before others. That's why you suffer more, but also that's why you wake up before. Cayce believed the signs are personalized, that each soul receives what is capable of understanding, and the virgins, by their introspective and detailed nature, receive signs that require observation, silence, delivery. They are not called with noise. They are called with subtlety, and that is why many still doubt. They think they are imagining, that are becoming spiritually paranoid, but they are not. They are just feeling what has always been there, but now intensifies. If you are feeling this, if these signs are appearing frequently, if your soul has vibrated in some part of this video, I want you to do something now. Comment down here. I recognize the signs. If you saw 11:11 in some special situation, share. Your experience can activate the awareness of someone who is still trying to understand what you are living. And if it is a virgin, write. 2. Activation began in me. This simple phrase energetically seals its recognition of the journey. And if you haven't left the like yet, do it now. It is a small but powerful gesture. It shows to the universe and to the algorithm that you are ready to continue receiving these spiritual reminders. Ignoring the signal does not silence the call. On the contrary, the more you try to cover the ears of the soul, the higher it screams. And when Cayce said that whoever carries the light cannot hide, he was not using poetic metaphors. He was describing a spiritual truth as real as the sunrise, because carrying light is more than a virtue. It is an energy responsibility. And Virgin, among all signs, is one of those who receive this responsibility with the most weight, not for punishment but for capacity, because the Virgin has structure to support what others would break. But the problem begins when this force turns into resistance. When, instead of accepting the call of 11:11, Virgin tries to escape. And it is in this silent escape that the price begins to be charged, not by external forces but inside. It is at this moment that spiritual erasure begins, slowly, subtle, almost imperceptible, like a lamp that oscillates before erasing completely. The Virginian begins to feel a strange sense of disconnect. The things that once brought pleasure no longer have shine. Relationships lose meaning. The work becomes heavy, without direction. The mind begins to sabotage. Vital energy decreases. And worst of all is that intuition, this silent ally that has always guided a virgin without him noticing, begins to turn against him, not as punishment, but as a warning. And this warning comes in the form of anxiety that comes out of nowhere. Insomnia that does not respond to medicine, a constant feeling that something is missing, but you don't know what. And that's the worst part, the emptiness, a type of void that is not filled with distractions, food, with people, with nothing. Because this emptiness is not physical, it is spiritual. It forms when the soul feels that it is being ignored, when what was promised before incarnating is being left for later, never. And it is exactly at this point that many Virginians begin to get lost. They start living in the automatic, then rules that were not made for them, trying to fit into a society that does not honor the invisible, and this constant attempt to deny who are really creates a vibrational field of conflict. And where there is internal conflict, there is noise. Where there is noise, there is suffering. And where there is not listened to, there is illness. The body begins to reflect what the soul can no longer support. Constant headache, tension in the neck and shoulders, digestive problems, recurring insomnia, crying crises for no reason, fears that come out of nowhere. All of this are expressions of the energy field trying to force a return to you, for the purpose, for the forgotten mission. And this intensifies every time the number 1111 appears and is ignored. Because the universe does not give up easy for those who carry sacred codes. He insists. He pokes. It bothers you. Until you listen. Until you stop. Until you remember. And this memory doesn't come from the mind. It comes from the soul. It is a memory that manifests itself in the form of missing what you haven't even lived yet. A feeling that there is something waiting for you, outside, inside, somewhere. and that you need to do something, but you don't know what. This is the voice of the mission, and the more you try to heal it, the more it spreads through your thoughts. It begins as doubt, becomes restless, then becomes a crisis. Until you understand, you can no longer live against the flow. And it is possible to deny more than 1111 is a direct call, a code that vibrates with your field, that activates sleeping parts of your being, which requires you something you may not even know how to deliver, but you know you need to start. Cayce said that the soul that carries light without direction is like a burned lit torch in the dark. She will continue to burn, but without purpose. It will burn until you consume yourself. Therefore, the signal is not a prize, it is a turning point. When it appears, or you listen, or move away from what makes you whole, and Virgin, by its most refined spiritual nature, suffers even more in this removal, because everything inside it is made to understand, translate. And when this capacity is used to deny its own essence, autoboicotic is born. The fear, the guilt, the spiritual procrastination. It is in this state of denial that repetitive cycles arise. Projects that do not come out of paper, relationships that always end the same way, decisions that are never made, patterns that repeat themselves like an endless carousel. All of this is a reflection of a soul in forced silence, and the universe, which does not let your chosen ones get lost, without trying to rescue them, sends 1111 as a constant reminder, not as a threat, but as insistent love, as those holding on by the hands, and says, "Wake up, you are forgetting who you are." And this forgetfulness does not happen at once. It comes slowly, disguised as adaptation. You start to shape yourself to please, to avoid conflict, to follow the logic of the world. But every time you do this, it moves away a little more from the logic of the soul, and Virgin feels it brutally, because its essence was designed to serve the truth, the spiritual detail, the silent purpose. And when this essence is suffocated, emptiness becomes chronic pain, and the pain in existential despair. So when 1111 appears again, and it will appear, note how you feel. Observe the environment. What were you thinking? What were you feeling? What emotions were active? Because the sign never comes by chance. It arrives at the exact moment you need to be remembered, and this memory, if accepted, can be the key to completely turning your journey. If you're going through this, if you saw 1111 you ignored, you tried to follow, but you felt all that we talk about here, I want you to comment now. I recognize that I ran away from my mission, and if you are a virgin, write too. My soul asks for reconnection. These phrases are not just words. They are vibrational acts. They are spiritual stamps. And by writing them, you are showing your soul that it is being heard again, that the silence was broken, that the mission, however forgotten it was, still pulsates, still waiting, still want you. So leave your like if it has touched something you could not name so far. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. If you stayed here, it's because it was no coincidence. Nothing that is happening right now is random. Each word that came to you carry a specific vibration. Each phrase that touched your mind, every sensation that arose in your body during this video are answers. Answers to something you may not have done consciously, but your soul has asked for a long time. Don't underestimate what you felt now, because when the soul responds, the body feels. The field changes, the reality is inclined, and everything around you begins to enter a different state, more aligned, more consistent with who you really are. If you are a virgin, you need to understand that this moment we are living is a collective activation point, but not everyone listens, not everyone feels, not everyone can recognize the signs, but you can, because you carry this natural filter of perception, this spiritual radar that has been shaped through lives, experiences, silent pains, and invisible scars. All of this has prepared you for now, and if 1111 has appeared with insistence, it is not a sympathetic coincidence of the universe. It is a knock on the door of your conscience, a spiritual password being typed by the upper plane to see if you awaken. And if you felt this vibration somewhere from what was said here, It is because the password worked. It is because the code has been recognized. And now, something inside you started to move. This video was more than spiritual content. It was a portal, an activation, a mirror where you saw not only the virgin sign but the soul that lives behind it, the soul that feels too much, who observes everything in silence, who presents before others, who analyzes the invisible while trying to seem normal in the face of the eyes of a world that is not ready to see what you see. But now you already understand. You can no longer pretend that the call no longer exists. You can't push it later, what is screaming inside now. You can no longer be silent as if your intuition was exaggeration. She is direction. She is a compass. She is part of her mission. And perhaps, right now, while listening to it, you are feeling that same vibration that arises when 1111 appears, that shiver without cause, that slight knot in the throat, that silence that settles around as if everything stopped for you to hear better. This is your field vibrating in response. This is the spiritual memory reorganizing. This is you coming back to you. You may have ignored it before. It may have tried to be rational. You may have told yourself that it was just coincidence. But something brought you here. Something kept you until the end of this video. And that something is bigger than you think. It is a force that is reorganizing from within. An energy reconfiguration that happens whenever a soul says yes to what it already knew, but had forgotten. So now, right now, if this message has actually touched you, if you felt that she talked to the deepest inside you, write in the comments, "I accept my virgin call." Do not write for writing. Write with intention. Write as a seal, as a commitment, as a choice to stop running and start walking toward your truth. And if you know another Virginian who has also seen 1111, who also feels that he does not fit, who also lives stuck in doubts and spiritual silences, send this video to him, because maybe he's just waiting for it to remember too, because that's how it begins. One wakes up and lights the BUO, other. One soul recognizes the other, and together they begin to form what Cayce called the awakened soul network. It is not theory, it's real, and it's happening now. That was just the beginning, because in the next videos I will reveal what 1111 represents to other signs. I will show how each one receives and interprets this sacred sign in a unique way. But for Virgin, this was just the opening of the portal. It was just the first layer. It was just the beginning of something much bigger, deeper and more transformative. And if you felt that this beginning was true, stay with me. Because the journey does not end here. She is just awakening. She is just revealing herself, and you are part of it, fully, intentionally, spiritually. If this touched you, if something inside your chest came on with what has just been said, leave your like now, not out of vanity, but by vibration. If you stayed until the end of this video, it already says a lot about you. It means something inside you is ready, awake, or at least starting to remember. And if that's it, then this channel is your place. Here, each video is a call, a new piece of the spiritual puzzle that your soul is trying to ride. So before you leave, do the following. You subscribe to the channel right now, because the next videos will further deepen this journey, and you won't want to lose any revelation. If this has really touched you, leave the like, because that's how we show the universe and the algorithm that this message needs to reach souls like yours. And now comment below. I arrived until the end because I'm ready to remember who I am. This comment is more than engagement. It is a sign, a confirmation. It's your soul saying, I heard and I'm here. Oh, and don't go out without continuing. On the left side of your screen is now appearing the next video in the series. Click on it and follow me on this journey. The next step is already waiting for you.